Okay, Chapter 9 for Business of Tech is all about career planning and development. First section, career opportunities. Career is a goal for work that is fulfilled through an occupation or series of occupations. So I am a teacher, but throughout my life I've been a worker at factories. I've been a playground instructor. I've done different jobs that have led me through to be the career that I've chosen as teacher. It's never too early to make a tentative career decision. You don't have to have a final career decision made too early in life. But the earlier you can start thinking about things that you want to do, the better off you are. So you can start kind of doing a little bit here and a little bit there that has to deal with that specific career. So the more you start to study it, the more you can figure out if it's something you like or don't like. And it's okay not to like your first decision. You can get training at two-year college, otherwise known as junior college or community college, KC, or you can go the four-year route, or you can go to private schools that have career training, things like that are specific to a specific career. Anytime you're trying to figure out your career planning process, you need to do some personal assessment. Back in junior high with Miss Snow, you probably did careercruising.com, which broke down, things that you might want to do someday. We will do that again here, hopefully when we return to school, so that you guys can kind of, again, see where you're leaning towards, and those tests tend to help with that. It's never a bad idea to look at the market that's out there. What are the jobs that are available? What jobs are kind of going away? Where do I live? Because all these decisions help in deciding what you might want to do. Then you'll just have to go pick up applications, create resumes and cover letters, and we'll get to this stuff in depth later on. And then eventually we'll go to the interview process. Preparing for the interview is just looking up where you're going to interview, asking yourself questions, have people ask you questions, learn about follow-up activities, think about what you're wearing, make sure you're really studying the process so that you stand out and don't blend in. Eventually you could get to the point where you'd have to accept or deny their offer. It's always important that even if you deny, you tend to leave on a good note so that maybe in the future you could come back. But if you do something that is negative, the place will remember that. Then always got to think about advancing throughout the career, maybe not staying there forever, but starting there and continuing on as you go. I can get a lot of this information from print and media, but that's kind of dying. Your online sources are, again, probably going to be what you do. You're going to look on the internet, on their websites, different types of websites that have access to job databases. Information interviews are when you just talk to people that are already in that field. You can kind of talk with them and figure out what they think. Build your business contacts up. Because I'm sure nowadays when you want a job, you probably talk to your best friend and say, where are you working? Can you get me a job? And that really doesn't change as you age. You will still probably talk to your friends about, what they're doing and why they're doing it. Some sample questions. I'm not going to go through all these. You can pause it and read those. Mobility is the willingness of a person to move. People can become what's called locational unemployed. Usually when you're younger and you don't have a family, you're more mobile and you're able to move to wherever the jobs might be. As you become established with a family and other responsibilities, you tend to not be able to just up and move. Growth career areas, geography influences it heavily where I am, and obviously what the economy is doing, what the industries are doing. Obviously tech is big right now. It always has been. Some of your welding type jobs, construction are on the rise because they're in such demand and there's so few people that are going into them. Second section here is planning our career. What interests me? What are my values? What are my talents? What are my abilities? These are all kind of important questions. Interest is important because if I don't like what I'm doing, I'm not going to enjoy it for a long period of time. What's important to me, because if I'm doing something that goes against what I value, it's going to be hard for me to be happy every day. Talents are things that are kind of born into you. Abilities are things that we can improve. So if we have something that is a talent to us, use that talent. If we have abilities, improve those abilities. Where can I get experience? Work study programs, internships, do the studying activities with Mr. Jansen in his classes where you get to go out, choose a career that you actually want to maybe do. Follow a person around for a day, ask them questions, volunteer at those places, become part-time employed, choose fields that are similar to what you might like to see if it is something you truly do like. Again, the media, personal contacts, business contacts, career fairs is something that you may have done back in junior high. You may have done it in high school where you go to KC and they have career fair day kind of there. When you graduate college or you do some sort of college, they'll have career fairs where you can basically bring resumes and apply at a bunch of jobs all at one time. Employment agencies are agencies that are set up with insights into specific jobs. Third section here, applying for employment. Resume, career portfolio, all this stuff is just information about you. Key on all this stuff is going to be correct spelling, professional look to it, printed on better paper, not your thin paper. Get your resume stock type paper. Make sure your career portfolio is up to date. This is things that you do, things you're good at. Always keep it up to date. Resume application so that you never know when you're ready for it or when you need it. Resume is a personal information. It's got your career objective, your education, your experience, some career related honors. Again, should be very correct, should be very neat, no spelling mistakes, and brief, 1 page. Get everything on 1 page because the longer it gets, people don't want to read it. Cover letter is the same way. It should be specific to the job, should be correct, should be spelled correct, should be checked over a bunch of times, should be brief, and should state why this job is important to you. Your portfolio can have all the following things. Again, you can pause these to read them. Biggest thing is you want a little bit of everything that you're able to do in that career portfolio. Letters of recommendation are usually on a as needed thing. You can kind of say recommendations as asked for and then have them available if people want them. These are some words you can use to make stuff sound better rather than use the same word over and over. Your cover letter can have an introduction, a development, a conclusion. It should be targeted to that specific organization. Online application makes it a little easier because now you can enter information online. It's a lot cleaner that way. It's a lot faster. If you're going to write the old school way, make sure it is super neat and done correct. Cyber interviewing is when you do an interview over the internet, becoming more popular, especially if I'm trying to apply out of state. I can do so on a cyber interview to make sure I'm not wasting my time by booking a flight for both sides. Then eventually, hopefully, you get to the fourth section where you try to secure a job. In the interview, you're going to have a two-way conversation, which isn't always true anymore. Most of those conversations now are going to be probably a group of people interviewing you, asking you a bunch of questions, just trying to see what you can do. Before the interview, make sure you do some research. Make sure you're dressed appropriately. I always say go one up so you stand apart. Don't try to blend in. This is one time where you definitely don't want to blend in. You want to stand out. You don't want to stand out too much. You don't want to do anything dramatic, but you want to make sure that you are somebody they remember for good reasons. During the interview, be respectful, be polite, communicate. After the interview, thank the person. Leave the room. Contact them in a couple days to check, just to get your name back in their radar and do all that stuff. I'm clicking through these because I just talked about them. You can pause them as needed. Some common questions. After the interview stuff we just talked about. Comparing offers is going to be when you take multiple offers and you compare them to each other. When you're on the job, ask questions but don't complain. Honor your breaks. Consider your appearance. Always be very on time, dressed appropriately for the job. Be friendly with everyone. Make it a good experience for you to go in and work. Show you're dependable, then they'll give you more to do. Get a mentor, somebody that'll help you. When you leave a job, give notice and make sure you leave on good terms because you never know when you would need to come back. That's it.